The election campaign is truly heating up. I am in Bengaluru. This is known as the IT and tech city, and who better to talk to than the sitting MOS of Information Technology and Electronics. Rajeev Chandrashekhar is joining us.
Thank you, Shivani.
Pleasure to be speaking to you again.
Thank you.
But this is a very different atmosphere in which we're talking. First of all, how do you feel the campaign for the BJP is going? Because you've been under the gun for quite some time in Karnataka.
No, I don't think we've been under the gun. I think this is it's a good campaign because it is a campaign that is increasingly showcasing what we have done in the last 3.5 years in Karnataka under the double engine Sarkara, especially during the most difficult times during COVID and the floods before that. And we are essentially running a campaign that says, here is our report card, here is what we have done, here is our manifesto of 2018 and what we have achieved. And we have made promises and we have kept them. And here is our manifesto for the next 5 years. We are going to make these promises. We will make them. We will keep them in the next 5 years. And this time, please give us a decisive majority, because last time in 2018, the people of Karnataka certainly made us the single largest party and rejected the Congress and JDS. But that didn't stop the Congress and JDS from doing what they do very well, which is come up with these opportunistic alliances and grab power. So this time the request or the plea to the people of Karnataka is give us a decisive majority.
Speaking of manifestos, there's a huge war that has erupted now. The BJP released its Sankalp Patra yesterday. The Congress has released its manifesto today. And they have, of course, promised that along with organizations like the PFI, that the BJP at the center has banned, they will ban organizations like the Bajrangdal, which are, of course, I would say affiliated to the BJP or the larger Sangh Parivar. Yes. Your comments on that first?
No, look, I think for us, the process of a manifesto is that we go to people, seek their aspirations, and we make this a document about our program for the next 5 years. In the Congress's case, they certainly know, and I think it has become very clear to them in the last 2 weeks, that they are nowhere going to be in the government in Karnataka. So for them, this business of manifesto or the process of doing a manifesto is to say whatever they can, however reckless it is or however irrational it can be. And certainly they want to try and amplify their political thinking. And so therefore this manifesto, they know, we know, the people of Karnataka know, will never come close to being implemented. And so they have said what they have said. And I think it's particularly astonishing that the Congress would reveal their commitment to appeasement politics in such a brazen manner, where they would equate a known banned terrorist organization like the PFI, which is known for its violence, its bomb making, and equate it to Bajrangdal just because they want to appease the particular community.
But can I ask you something? The BJP has its own ideological bent.
Sure.
You talk about UCC in every state election now. That is also, one would argue, to appease a certain section. So Congress does it to appease another section, and they believe the Bajrangdal is as problematic as the PFI.
I think the what you are asking about the UCC is precisely what the Congress wants people to believe. The UCC is nothing but an equitable. It's about equity. It's about the same level playing field of laws and opportunities, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a Hindu or a Muslim or a Sikh or a Christian. And remember, UCC is not some new concept. It exists in Goa. It exists in many parts of the country.
It's a directive principle of the Constitution.
Yeah, but saying that you don't want UCC is essentially pandering to the fringe elements of a particular community who want to continue gender discrimination, want to continue this staying outside the law and have a special dispensation for themselves. We have always said, Prime Minister repeats it, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. That is our political ideology. And the UCC is completely consistent with that.
Okay, let me compare the PFI and the Bajrangdal then.
Sure.
Obviously, you find the PFI problematic. Yes, there have been very, very serious cases against them and links with terror also emerging. But the Congress believes that Bajrangdal is also equally problematic. What they stand for, what they do is equally problematic. So what's wrong?
I don't think
if
it
they
is
do
about,
so?
look, Shivani, this is exactly the difference between Congress's political rhetoric and appeasement and how we approach things. We don't find PFI problematic. The people who are victims of terror, people who are victims of pressure cooker bombs, people who have lost lives, limbs to PFI's activists, PFI's people and goons, they find it problematic.
But
and
Bajrangdal
therefore,
also does similar no, not similar, but let's say they beat people up, or there are
no,
cases
there
that
are
of violence
hundreds.
against.
Look, let me be very clear. To try and conflate or equate a terrorist organization with an organization like Bajrangdal is just so far out. It is like saying the ISIS, I mean Rahul Gandhi has tried to equate the
Muslim
RSS
Brotherhood.
and terrorist organization. It is their politics. It is about as far from the truth as you can get, and any commonsensical person, any well-meaning person understands that. But the Congress's strategy is to continue to water these divisions, these fault lines within the society that they have developed, they have nurtured over 60 years. They want to continue to pander to that.
Will it backfire for them, you think?
No,
Because they are certainly
certainly in
consolidating the weight.
Karnataka, I can tell you, even for the vast majority of Muslims, this continuing watering, this continuing, in a sense, encouraging of divisions and fear between communities is not something anybody likes. Nobody wants it, not at all, even the communities that they seem to be pandering to. We are all looking at every young Indian, every young Kannadiga wants to look at a brighter future. They want to look at opportunities. They want to have a discourse about development, equity, equal opportunities. And the Congress does what it's doing for the last 60 years, which is essentially the same old politics that the grandfather, the father, the grandmother did, the son or the grandson or whatever the category he falls into is doing. There is a Kannada saying, Ade Raga, Ade Hadu. The same old raga, the same old song. This is the Congress's politics.
Old wine in new bottle.
Yeah, the same old raga and the same old tune.
The same old raga, the same old tune. Well, we'll wait and see how that plays out, especially that Muslim card. But I do want to ask you, overall, Karnataka politics or voting is also very caste-based, right? Let's not deny that. Right. You've been under the pressure a little bit because of Lingayat leaders leaving. There's been a little bit of, let's say, churn, some things have happened. Don't you think that will also hurt you as we move back towards the BJP office?
No, look, I want to say this. Castes are a part of Indian society, and that is, as much as people identify as Kannadigas or Indians, they also identify with their caste identity, and that is normal. That is a phenomenon across the country, and there is nothing wrong with that. And that is because each caste have their own issues and challenges. So there is nothing wrong with that. But what we say, and the Prime Minister repeatedly said that our programs, our development model, essentially is inclusive and gives everybody, regardless of gender, caste, religion, equitable opportunity. Equitable support from the state, equitable support from the government. So Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is regardless of your identity, regardless of how you identify yourself, the government's dealings with you, government supports with you is equitable, fair, transparent, and you can get the same opportunity as somebody else down the road who also wants those opportunities.
But don't you think some of these Lingayat leaders like Jagdish Shettar, Lakshman Savari, leaving you and saying things,
No, look,
even despite your attempt to increase the Lingayat and Vocaliga reservation by 2%, it will still hurt your vote base a little bit?
I know Jagdish Shettarji very well. I know Lakshman Savari very well. Both of them were leaders in the BJP. The BJP this time took a decision, very clear decision, that our leadership took a decision, we wanted new faces. And so we announced 73 new faces amongst the 224 MLAs. And as a consequence of that, what happens is when you bring in new Karyakartas and new faces with new energy to drive this mission of a new Karnataka, there is obviously the consequence that the older leaders step away. In many cases, the older leaders have stepped away very graciously, keeping in mind the best interests of the state and the best interests of the party. In these two cases, they decided to keep their personal ambition ahead of what they believed was good for the state. So they did what they did. We have no problem with that. They did what they did. But I find it very hypocritical that they would jump into cahoots with the Congress, because the Congress represents everything that they fought for the last 35, 40 years. And it is certainly clear in my mind that both in Atani and Hubli Dharwad Central, that both the candidates, Congress candidates, they will lose, and the BJP candidates will win very, very decisively.
Okay, let me come to Bengaluru now. You're, of course, the Minister of IT and Tech. So I want to ask you, Bengaluru's reputation and pride as the premier IT city and a cosmopolitan global city has taken a bit of a battering in the last few years.
Sure.
Since your government has been in power, there's been flooding issues, there's been pothole issues, infrastructure issues.
Right.
I mean, how do you reconcile with the fact that the BJP government talks so much about development, but this city, which should have been a showcase, is lagging behind?
Now look, Bengaluru's problems are not 3.5 years old. Bengaluru's problems of overcrowding, infrastructure development, which is not developed along with the size of the city, are problems that are about a decade and a half old. And we have very certainly in 2018, when we launched our manifesto in 2018, we also had a vision for Bengaluru. And we are very determined, the Prime Minister onwards to the lowest Karyakarta in Bengaluru is very determined that Bengaluru has to transform. We need a Nava Bengaluru, new Bengaluru framework, development roadmap, a governance roadmap. And unfortunately, this time when we got the opportunity, we got it first of all 3.5 years only. 1.5 years the Congress and JDS grabbed power. In those 3.5 years, we were faced with the biggest challenges that we had to deal with, which is COVID, protecting lives, delivering vaccines, delivering ration to all of the people of Bengaluru. And despite that, we have done considerable amount of work for Bengaluru, despite the fact that in 3.5 years we were so engrossed, every man, woman in the Bengaluru government and the BBMP was so focused on staving off the COVID pandemic and its impact. So our vision for Bengaluru is very clear. We think Bengaluru, and our Prime Minister has said this very, very emphatically and clearly, that we believe Bengaluru has to be a modern city. It has to continue to be the beacon of entrepreneurship, innovation,
Startups,
as well as
you promised in your
startups, as well as maintaining and protecting the cultural heritage of this beautiful, proud city. So we don't believe it's a binary. We want to keep Bengaluru as Bengaluru, Namma Bengaluru, as well as becoming a beacon for innovation throughout the world.
You know, one thing I heard from a lot of Bengalurians is that yes, of course, technology and infrastructure and development are required, but people also want a more livable city. You know, they want less traffic, more open spaces, green spaces, good pathways and footpaths to walk on. So that holistic view has to be taken. It cannot be just full throttle development.
I agree, and our call this time is out of the 28 MLAs that are constituting Bengaluru. We want, and we have introduced a number of new faces in our lineup in Bengaluru. We certainly are requesting every voter in Bengaluru to give us a decisive Bengaluru mandate, not have even one Congress MLA, because they come with their own baggage of private enterprise, their desire to build steel bridges and write entries in diaries and have real estate businesses. So we certainly want Bengaluru to be taken away from the clutches of these powerful Congress politicians who have for many, many years held roost or held sway over the fate of Bengaluru and Bengalurians.
Okay, final couple of questions. What do you feel about the stage of the campaign right now, especially with the Prime Minister's blitzkrieg, you know, in the final few days? And the Prime Minister and the BJP have talked quite a bit about the personal attacks against him. Is that your trump card?
No. I think that the fact that they are now the Congress father and son, Karge, brother and sister, Gandhi, DK Shivkumar and his assorted cronies are all now focused on abusing the Honorable Prime Minister, tells you that they understand that the ground is shifting from under them. And it is pretty clear to me that this type of irrational, angry behavior targeting the Prime Minister is basically because they know that this is the campaign has shifted and the momentum is in favor of the BJP.
Why do you say that? The momentum is in your favor?
No, surveys are saying that. You've seen the surveys after just 2 days of PM's campaigning yesterday. Surveys have shown that we are certainly not just the single largest party, but we are edging to a decisive majority. And the Prime Minister's campaign has revolved around a call that we this time want a decisive majority. We don't want to be again back in the same situation as 2018, where we have the single largest party, which we have no doubt we will be, but then we are held hostage by this unholy and opportunistic partnership of the Congress and JDS. So the Prime Minister's campaign is a very important campaign because it stresses to the people, to the voters, that we must turn out in large numbers and give BJP the decisive mandate that the state sorely requires.
So are you saying corruption, the 40% commission sarkar, price hike, In fact, people had some criticisms of the COVID response in Karnataka as well. Issues about inflation, issues about infrastructure woes. None of that matters?
No, look, all of them matter if you look at the truth. It certainly doesn't matter if you look at it through the prism of the Congress propaganda campaign. Like, for example, this 40%, I think this is they thought they were being very smart by floating this balloon of a 40% corruption, and when they were challenged by Chief Minister Bommai, saying that if you really want 20 corrupt contractors to be your reference on 40% corruption, prove one point, file a case. Even till date, they have not filed a case. This is the same Congress party, by the way, Shivani, who wanted to, under Siddaramaiah, dilute the Lokayukta. They wanted to take the ACB away from the Lokayukta. We in 2022 strengthened the Lokayukta, and even if that meant one of our own MLA sons were nabbed as a process. If there is a party today in Karnataka and the Congress that's in Karnataka and in Bengaluru that stands for zero tolerance to corruption and a real genuine fight against administrative and political corruption, it is the BJP. I think for DK Shivkumar and a party with poster boys like DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah to talk about corruption is not just a joke, it is mocking the intelligence of the people of Karnataka.
Okay, Rajeev Chandrashekhar, final question. What gives BJP the edge? What is your one thing that gives you the edge over the Congress? Because you've had some anti-incumbency issue, tough tenure, no doubt. And the Congress Karnataka is one of those states where the Congress is the strongest actually. They have a good unit, big unit, some leaders, tall leaders here.
Our advantage, Shivani, is the same advantage across the country, which is our work. And we have worked very hard. Our Chief Minister and the government, first under B.S. Yediyurappa, then under Bommai, have worked very hard, and we have a report card to show for it. We have evidence that we have worked hard, we have protected lives, we have protected livelihoods, and we have done.
I'm interrupting you. Congress says out of your 600 promises last time, you fulfilled less than 10%.
Look, Congress will say many things, but you know that if you push there, even one allegation, it's like a house of cards that collapses. They have mastered the art of Twitter trolling. They have mastered the art of social media where they float untruth and believe, like the old Goebbels under Hitler, that if you say the untruth many times enough, it will become the truth. Unfortunately, they have to deal with the people of Karnataka for whom the truth really matters, and they have an ability to get to the truth regardless of what DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah put out there.
So you're confident that the BJP is coming back to power?
I am not just confident, I am 1000% confident.
1000% confident?
1000% confidence that the people of Karnataka want 5 more years of BJP double engine Sarkara.
All right, we wish you all the best, Rajeev Chandrashekhar. Thanks a lot for speaking to us.
Thank you.
And of course, we'll catch him once again, maybe on May 13th.
On the 14th, of course. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.